Hey guys, so in this video I want to talk to you about Monzo and how I make use of tags to better track my spending habits and enables me to budget much more effectively. So you may know that Monzo has these things called categories. So every time you make a purchase at a shop or online, Monzo actually automatically tries to infer what kind of area that transaction is related to. So for example, if you're shopping at McDonald's, it's going to say most likely that it's an eating out category. And of course, you as the user can actually manually override this and choose any category you like. And it's one of the things that makes Monzo really powerful compared to other banks, because it's kind of naturally encouraging you to think about how you're spending and maybe makes you think more about budgeting and assigning set amounts of money to different areas of your life. However, in my experience, I've found that categories only go so far. And this is why I've kind of started to make use of the tagging feature, which we'll come on to showing you exactly how to do this, to get deeper analysis and kind of identify areas for improvement in your spending habits. So I'm going to pull up Monzo and talk you through what tags are, how I use them, and maybe how they could be applied for your own use, for helping you budget more effectively and eliminate bad spending habits. So I'm going to pull up Monzo here, and you can see I've got some recent purchases, and you'll see, for example, Sainsbury's here. And underneath, kind of in smaller grey text, these are the notes. And you can make them by clicking into the transaction, and then there's this like notes icon. You click on it, you can type literally whatever you want. You know, in the past I used to be rigorous and be like, literally everything I bought. So it would be like, okay, I bought Skittles, I bought milk, I bought bread, I bought eggs. But how useful actually is that compared to the amount of effort doing it? And so I eventually found out that you can do these hashtags. Just like in Twitter, you write a hashtag and then the word, and then it labels you to search against that across your entire history of your purchases for anything else that's been tagged with the same name. And so when I discovered this, I kind of had to think about it for a while and say, well, what hashtags would actually be useful to benefiting my finances or my spending habits? And we'll quickly jump over to what I made, which was kind of like a hashtag reference list. I basically took all the main categories that I use in Monzo and then kind of broke them down into subcategories, which are essentially these hashtags. And I'll cover each of them just quickly now. So the key ones that I'd say are, for entertainment, it's kind of like people visiting us, like friends or family, where we do nice activities. And so, for example, my friends from university in Bath visited, I'll tag that under hashtag Bath Boys, and then I can use that to infer, okay, how much do I need to set aside for when that visit happens in the next 6 months? Because it can be quite an expensive weekend. A second really useful thing is for tracking these bad spending habits. So Groceries is a perfect example here, where every week my partner and I will go to the supermarket and buy everything we can for the week. But inevitably during the week we'll find ourselves going to the local smaller convenience store to buy two categories of things. One is hashtag naughty food. It's going to be things like sweets, chocolate, fizzy drinks, things that we kind of don't necessarily need. Maybe if we're trying to be focused on eating healthy, we kind of want to rule out. And so by tracking that, we can realize how good or bad we've been. Secondly is hashtag extra food. And this is kind of basically saying where we've forgotten to get things from our weekly shop. So maybe you've forgotten to get eggs or milk or coffee. We track it because it's more expensive at these local stores, and it's time consuming to have to go a couple times in the week when you're doing a big shop at the weekend where it's, you know, all in one and it's cheaper. And so these two hashtags are really like good way of getting that finer grained analysis and categorization to help inform, okay, how well are you doing with these habits, and how can you maybe make a change by writing a better list for your weekly shop, or, you know, somehow trying to eliminate cravings by having something slightly nicer in your weekly shop so you don't find yourself going, I want to go buy sweets and chocolate midweek. The next two categories, so holidays is very similar to the entertainment, right? So if we use it to inform our future budgets. So when we went to Greece last year, we tracked everything under hashtag Greece, and then it informed how much we had spent on that holiday. And so then we know now, over the next 12 months, how much do we really need to save each month so that we can afford a similar style holiday to a similar type destination. And I'll quickly pull up an example shortly. So, and then the final probably relevant category is shopping. So I generally use this category for personal purchases, and two things that I use to break down is again tracking. One is for budget and one for spending. So hashtag gifts, you find that as you have friends and family, you have to buy gifts for birthdays, for anniversaries, for weddings, and so on. It adds up. And so we're using this hashtag to track how much we spend over a longer period of time to then inform how much we need to save for it, because it actually is a growing expense in our budget. And so we're trying to use the data to inform how much we need to save. And then books is kind of just like the naughty food in a way, to a degree, because I can buy a lot of books. I don't want it to get off control. And so it's just a way of tracking that and making sure, you know, I'm not overspending it on that category. So what I'm going to do is just quickly pull up one example, which is hashtag Greece. So the way you'd search it is you go to your application and you'll click the search icon top right, and you'll say hashtag Greece and search. And you can see all the transactions on the separate days. And then at the bottom, it has a nice summary of you spent this much in that time period. It was a big holiday, so it did cost a lot. And you can seemingly do this for anything. So I hope you found that video useful on Monzo tagging. I've personally found it really, really useful for getting a better picture of how to budget for future things, and also trying to eliminate bad spending habits on those chocolate and sweets. If you did get some value out of this video, I really would appreciate if you could give it a like. And if you've enjoyed it, maybe think about subscribing below or to the side. And finally, I really encourage you to check out my other Monzo video, which is focused on setting up your Monzo environment so that you can save more with less effort. So thank you guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.